11 of Jason Bowles. He's a champion in the K&N West Series down south, so you know he can get around in a stock car. And as you mentioned, Vic, he's done well in the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series.
Well, and give him full credit, I think, Billy, for him to come up here. He's come up to run the road races and do that. He needs to learn something like that.
Well, he's never been to this racetrack before, but he's got a lot of good support behind him. I got a little tidbit. He's going to finish the last 6 races of the year in the NASCAR Canadian Tire Truck Series. It'll be announced soon. A friend told me that. I hope it happens for him. He's a great little shoe.
Good for you. Good for you. Good information. As we also know, he shares the car on the ovals with John Gaunt. So here we go. Now they'll get to start this a little earlier. We'll watch the cones on the left-hand side. You'll see them come up on the wall. It'll be all in the hands. There they are. It's all Andrew Ranger now inside. Bowles is on the left. And here we go, racing the restart. 5 laps of 23. 6 now have been completed here in Montreal.
Whoa, contact. Bowles and 27 get together. Ranger's got to slide through the grass. Jason Bowles will try and keep the momentum going.
Oh, what a job by Ranger, trying to get it back. Trying to watch Lapsevich, though, on the inside.
3 wide deeper in the field. Steckley, the meat in that sandwich, but this is for the lead.
Lapsevich in the Tim Hortons number 23. Ranger muscling him to hold on to the lead. What a great bit of driving, though, by Andrew Ranger to skate it through the grass.
Absolutely. They got down in there tough. Jason Bowles, a true gentleman, let him get back out in the racetrack and keep his spot. He could have raced around the outside and stole the lead. True gentleman, he give it up. Lapsevich, giddy by the door, wanting some of the action.
Jeff Lapsevich out of West Grimsby has 3 top 10s here. He's a 6-time road race winner in CASCAR.
Absolutely, and definitely a talented road race driver, and he was having a great season to start. He didn't make the Western swing in the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series, but he's giving that Tim Hortons Chevy a great ride here in Montreal.
So it is Ranger, followed by Lapsevich, who made a great jump from 5th up to 2nd, and coming on the inside, it's the number 4 of Don Thompson Jr. coming off that win in Barrie.
Simone's going to get 2 spots. He got to the inside of the 66 of Robin Buck, and now he's going to use that drive to pass the 69 of Trevor Siebert.
Trevor Siebert got hung out by the 4, and Simone was able to tuck inside and drag race up beside him. Now it's going to be all done under braking into this next corner.
Ranger pulling it out just a little bit, followed by Lapsevich, followed by Bowles, followed by Thompson Jr. Simone. Oh, Simone gathers it up as that back end got a little loose coming over the curbing.
Man, he clipped that inside curb, got it all kinds of sideways. But oh, we got somebody else in trouble. That's the 77.
And that
Isabelle Tremblay from Quebec in her beaten Brunet Interbec Ford, coming off a 20th in Toronto in her first Canadian Tire start. She was 21st also at Trois-Rivières.
And this may call for another full course caution if she can't get that car refired and get it off the course. Of course, they do use local cautions, or what they use is a waving blue flag, and another car stalled. That's the 50 of Joey McComb in the Racetime Radio Dodge, and he is stopped. So a car like McComb, they may leave out there for a lap to see if he can get it refired, but with Tremblay stuffed up against the wall, that may call for a full course caution. None yet, though.
And that's disappointing for Joey, because he was 10th at Mostport, and he had thought his season was turning around for him, and he was able to find that sponsorship of Racetime Radio and Sirius Radio.
Yeah, so another moved caution into the top 10 in points, actually, too.
Well, she got that car righted there now, but it's seriously damaged on the backside. Now, and the fans got to be enjoying this. We're heading for another restart. Cautions breed cautions, and I'll tell you, if they come to see an exciting race, they're getting it.
Yeah, you can see the damage to the back end of that 77 car. I don't think it's going anywhere without tow here, but definitely an interesting race to this one. We were expecting a fairly caution-free affair. I mean, if you look back through history, the first 3 races have been fairly caution-free. Everybody seems to mind their own business until the end of the race, and that's when business usually picks up, as we like to say. But here, everybody's getting on it so early. I mean, we're only 8 laps into this race.
As we see, the number 17 of DJ Kennington is back in, and once again, they've got the carburetor off. Air cleaner is off that carburetor. We'll take a break. We're under caution in an event-filled NAPA Autopro 100 here in Montreal and on Canada's sports leader, TSN. the former U.S. Pavilion here on Ile Notre Dame from Expo. TSN's NASCAR Sprint Cup coverage continues next Sunday as the track heats up at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Labor Day Classic 500. Live coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. If they have as much action as we've had so far today here in Montreal, this is the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series presented by Mobil 1, the NAPA Autopro 100. We are under caution again after Isabelle Tremblay from Quebec stuffed it. Let's take a look again at the restart just previous to the caution. And again, it's a Ranger and Bowles and getting it a little loose. Maybe just not enough traction here, and then he cooks it again. We've seen this before.
Well, he was out in the dirt there, you know, the oil dry, the kitty litter. He was spinning the tires. Bowles got a jump on him, so he drove it in extra far trying to catch back up, and they made a little bit of contact. And right here, the 11 could have drove around the outside and took it away from him. True gentleman, let him go. Put himself in jeopardy, though, but a great little race car driver.
All right, let's ride along now with Jason Bowles and the Triad Racing Technologies Dodge, and this is what he saw.
And you could just hear his feet working in there. He can gas and brake and gas and brake. I noticed Ranger, as he was completely sideways, he had a lot of wheel into it. He locked up that left front to get control again. And then, as you mentioned, Vic, he skirted through the grass and back on the racetrack.
Well, and then, I mean, you call it a gentlemanly move, but I mean, Jeff Flapsovich there in the Tim Hortons Chevrolet said, "The heck with being a gentleman, I'm going to take the spot."
Yeah, he says, I know you're not running for points, but I am, so I'm going to fill the hole right now. And right there, he got through the hole real quick. The Tim Hortons Chevrolet doing a good job today.
Todd, we've had lots of action in the pits. We don't expect pit stops in a NASCAR Canadian Tire Series event.
No, when they're in the pits during this type of event in the road course in Montreal, it's bad news, as it has been for DJ Kennington. They got tagged from behind, and they have a fuel pickup problem. They're just not getting the fuel from the fuel reservoir in the rear of the car through the motor to have it run properly. The 50 car of Joey McCombs also made a stop along pit road during this caution. He stopped out on course. Looks like it's a gear problem underneath the number 50 car. And you also talked about Jason Bowles on the restart and what he'll do this time with Andrew Ranger. Only had about 5 minutes on a PlayStation game. That was his acquaintance to this track here at Montreal. First time he'd seen it, has handled himself very well, and this will be his last event this year in the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series. He wants nothing more than to go away with a win. He respects Andrew Ranger, thinks he has a lot of talent, thought he might have had him in a race during that the two ran in the K&N Series at Sonoma, but got caught out on strategy, and Jason Bowles would like to have that victory here today.
You know, it's funny, Todd, you mentioned PlayStation as a way to learn a circuit. The 50 of Joey McComb uses YouTube videos. He'll sit at home and watch them on the computer. He did it for Trois Rivières, and he's done it for Circuit Gilles Villeneuve as well. And it's just to see how they get around in different series as well.
There are many Formula One drivers, actually, who go to circuits for the first time, and they've also used their PlayStation. DJ Kennington, we actually saw him out of his car. And remember, he's going to be getting right into the Nationwide car after this, so it looks as, I mean, if he's out of his car, is his day done, you think?
Well, the thing about DJ is very, very hands-on with his race car, so he's out there helping the crew, giving advice how to fix this fuel pickup problem. They'll get it fixed, he'll go out, damage control, get as many points as he can, and then he'll carry on to his Nationwide race to put on a show there.
Now, right now, that damage isn't too bad. J.R. Fitzpatrick sits in the 29th position, DJ Kennington down in 32nd. So really, when you get down in the order that much, the points differential really isn't that much.
Now, Kennington has the 3 wins this year. They're all on the ovals at Delaware, St. Eustache, and Saskatoon. And as we say, his strength is ovals. 3 remaining races this year are also on ovals. They will be at Barrie on September 11th, down in Antigonish, Nova Scotia at Riverside, September 18th, and they'll wind it up at Kawartha Speedway, September the 25th.
Vic, they're putting a fuel pump on the 17. That was DJ Kennington putting on a crew helmet. Part of the rules for safety, the crew members must have a helmet on. DJ slipped on the crew helmet. He's putting on a new fuel pump on the Castrol Dodge.
I tell you what, that's hands-on.
Absolutely.
Well, you'll never meet a guy that knows race cars from the top to bottom more than DJ Kennington, that's for sure.
Well, do you remember when DJ ran the Nationwide Series nearly full-time a couple of years ago? I remember listening to some of the other drivers talking, and they would walk past his garage stall, and he would be underneath the car working on his Nationwide car as well, and they just said, that sort of thing just doesn't happen anymore. But DJ Kennington keeping up with that here in the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series.